Good morning. I am Susan Eileen, author of the Dictionary of Missing Time, and this is Coach Joe. Together we wrote From Nada to Brada.
Good morning, everyone. And we are also the force behind Embrace Recovery Coaching. This is our company, and we are trying to bring help and support to those that are looking for it and are committed to working towards living the life that they deserve to live. With that in mind, we're going to talk a little bit today. If you are familiar with recovery or familiar with addiction, the acronym HALT may sound familiar to you. That is hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. Now, Susan Eileen has put a little nuance to that. So why don't you share with us how you changed that?
Well, I added the ED, so halted, and we actually wrote about this in From Nada to Prada, that if you're following a flow chart, halt is fine because it gets your ideas or gets your brain off of, the idea of using. However, what's the next step after that? So that's why I added ED, educate and divert. So yes, when a craving comes, you want to do a check-in with yourself. Am I hungry? Am I angry, lonely, tired? Well, once you've analyzed it, maybe you need to have a snack. Maybe you need to take a nap. But then what comes next? So after that is when you would either educate yourself on something related to your recovery, or D, divert your attention away from using with a hobby or a walk in the park or any one of our healthy coping mechanisms.
Absolutely. This is really halted. Is really all about having more positive, more healthy coping mechanisms and building resilience so
Yes.
that when you fall into the hungry, the angry, especially the angry, I think.
Yes. Well, and they do say that anger and resentments are the number one offender for a recurrence. And I know I used to take issue with that in early recovery because I thought everything is a number one offender in early recovery. But now that I have almost 5 years in, it's really the anger and resentment really are the most powerful emotions. Not that the other emotions aren't important, because they all of your emotions serve a purpose. And just real quick, I'd like to illustrate, a lot of people don't want to get sober because they're convinced it's going to be boring.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, check your definition of excitement and see if it's a healthy definition of excitement, number one. But two, some of our great inventions have come out of boredom. I mean, my hobbies have come out of boredom. The books came out of boredom. That's when your creative juices flow.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that we do with this program is get so that you're not afraid of your emotions. And when the ones come up, you can stop, educate yourself, divert your attention, have a snack, take a nap, whatever. But we help you develop those positive coping skills in this program and help you reach your highest timeline in this program.
Absolutely. And that is a big reason, or the reason why Embrace Recovery is the title of our company, because you have to embrace some of that discomfort, embrace
Yes.
some of those anxious feelings so that you can strengthen your coping mechanisms to make better choices. The other thing that's interesting that Susan Eileen brought out was sobriety is boring.
Yeah.
And early on in our conversations, what came out of that was transforming the FOMO, the fear of missing out,
Yes.
to JOMO, which is the joy of missing out.
Yes. So now I have the joy of missing out on hangovers. I miss out on fights with my family. I miss out on being short money because I spent it all at the bar. I'm missing out on legal problems. And so if that is your definition of excitement, fighting, legal problems, money problems, you might want to recheck your idea of excitement, because now my ideas of excitement, I went to a concert on Wednesday. I went to trivia night on Tuesday. I have 3 quilt orders for my side business for quilting. I mean, I have a life that I don't need to escape from. And that's realistically your best chance of getting sober is building a life. And that means internally too, but internally and externally build something that you don't need to escape from.
Absolutely. There's, and when you talk about HALT and HALTED now, that ties really closely to something that Susan Eileen has studied an awful lot, and that I've studied, which is Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yes. And so when I said reach my highest timeline, everybody on social media, I think, thinks that involves fame and fortune. And for me, my highest timeline is being at the top of Maslow's, to go from survival mode to self-actualization, to go from an internal war to internal peace. That is my highest timeline. And there was a quote once that said something like, everything will fall into place once I'm at peace. But no, once I was at peace, everything fell into place. I needed internal peace before all of the other pieces of my life started working.
Absolutely. And you know what? Sometimes that can be uncomfortable, because
Yes.
think about if you are constantly anxious, constantly uncomfortable, constantly whatever, and now you start to find peace, that peace feels uncomfortable. It's like, I should be worried about something.
Yes, it does. You're waiting for sort of the other shoe to drop. But when you're raised in chaos, peace feels boring. And I've already said there's no problem with boring. Some of our best ideas come out of boring. But make sure you're not confusing peace and boring. Because realistically, the only way I could get my peaceful life is to excuse chaos from the table and just say, and sometimes excusing from the chaos from the table, it gets worse before it gets better situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because the chaos wants to stay, so it's gonna try to stay, and you just have to be persistent and shooing it out the door. So
you do. So the internal and the external changes. Something that we've talked about a lot is the relationship issues, because as you start to self-actualize, as you start to get better, you're showing up in a different way.
Yes.
That might cause tension with some of your existing friends, some of your existing associations.
Yes.
Because you're showing up differently than they're used to. And we've talked about this an awful lot.
Yeah.
But sometimes when I always say this because it's a visual I like, when your recovery train is leaving the station, not everybody's going to be on the train with you.
As a matter of fact, it could be a lonely train ride there until you meet your tribe of people on the other side, because the opposite of addiction is connection. So we need healthy connections. No man is an island, as they say, but we need those healthy connections. And for many of us, the unhealthy connections started in childhood, which is probably where this conversation will take us next time.
Absolutely. Because when you look at addiction is what we actually see. But the layers underneath have to do with childhood trauma, have to do with the hierarchy of needs, have to do with neurodiversity, which we've talked about in the past. But there's a lot of good stuff. And we encourage you, if you find value in what we're talking about, and you know someone, or you are someone who is looking for some help in your recovery journey, that next step, and you want to find out more about Embrace Recovery Coaching and the curriculum, drop us a line. As we end this video, you'll have all of our contact information. Send us an email, connect with us on social media, and we will be in contact with you to talk about the whole program and whether it is right for you as your next step. And with that, we wish you folks a wonderful day.
Yes.
Bye.